The Carolina Storyteller is a campfire-style storytelling podcast covering ghost stories, legends, and true crime. Some content may not be suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
I am Jonathan Phoenix, the Carolina Storyteller, and as you can tell today, I am not joined by one, but a group of guests. The band Midgard from Colorado is here with me. Midgard, welcome to the show. It's so great to have you here with me.
Thank you for having us. Very happy to be a part of it.
So, Midgard is a metal band from out of Colorado, except for Alex, who is currently on the East Coast up north. And we have Alex, who is lead vocals. We have Ryan, who is on the drums. We have Alex, the younger, who is on guitar, Trav on guitar, and Jen, who is on bass. And Alex, tell us about how Midgard got together. How'd they form up?
So Midgard has been a band since the year of 2000. Obviously, very different lineup, very somewhat different sound, although some of the core aspects of who we are have been around since that time. But this particular lineup got together, I'd say, right about 2011, 2012. Midgard has been on hiatus for a long time, and when I tried to start the band up, I got a hold of Ryan, and the two of us started playing. We actually have played together in a band called Oblivion's Curse for a bit in between, and we just really clicked, both as people and as musicians. And from there on, we were looking for a guitar player, so Travis immediately joined us. Me and Travis also have known each other in a more cursory manner in between, and then, once Travis came on, it very much just clicked.
Yeah.
We did have a different bass player for about one show, but that just didn't work out. So it turned out that Jen is an extremely capable bass player as well. So Jen came on after learning our set in about 2 or 3 days. And she's been here ever since, and very happy to have her. So in 2012, we released a full-length album called Satellite. And then we did another album in 2015 called We Are the Destroyer. So things got a little bit less active since then, primarily because I was relocating to the East Coast, got a job offer there, and as a result, we've stayed dormant for a while. There was one release under the Midgard name in 2019 that was, to be honest, I would almost treat it more as doing a solo record rather than a real band record. And we had an idea to come together as a band and to try to see if it still clicks, see if things still work. And well, suffice to say, here we are, and we're going to have a new album coming out with all the OGs here, plus Alex, who just joined us during the recording of the album. He came in, just picked up the guitar, started playing, and well, one thing led to another, and we're a 5-piece band now, which I know that I'm personally extremely thrilled about. I know it was a little long-winded, so yeah, just very happy to be on this musical journey with this group of awesome folks.
Well, I mean, it's you guys put on a great show. Or should I say, you guys have some great music. I've listened to you guys since Trav and Jen joined the band back in 2012, because Jen and I go all the way back to high school, and Trav and I have been friends since the two of them. Yeah, 93, all the way back there, when other real music existed and not everything else that's out now. Not you guys are real music. I'm talking about the other stuff that's out there now. And Trav and I have been friends since Trav and Jen got together way back, and God knows how long ago, because I've forgotten how old I am now. So, I've been listening to you guys since then, and I've always enjoyed the music. Where do you guys think your musical inspiration comes from? If you don't mind me asking.
So I think
all
what
of
Ryan
it.
said.
Shalenko brings all sorts of stuff to the table that I would have never thought we could have in the band. I mean, there's just this element that brings this European feel to it that it's not just his voice. I mean, it's got to be something else in what he does, but it makes us feel like a European band instead of a Colorado band.
Well, yeah, Alex brings in a lot of influences from like Swedish melodic death metal, like bands like In Flames and Dark Tranquillity and stuff. And then I know kind of more recently I've been getting into more modern metal. I've been listening to a lot of deathcore, so the new album will be the first album I'm playing using an 8-string guitar, so that kind of changes the sound a little bit, but not too much. So kind of just blending all these different styles together. And
Yeah, I would say I've always felt like classical metal has been a big part of my inspiration, but having grown up in Eastern Europe, sometimes you are surrounded by the kind of stuff that you just wouldn't necessarily be surrounded by elsewhere. And believe it or not, I was never a big fan of pop, but sometimes you hear certain melodies and just like the certain way of composing melodies almost sticks with you when you hear it in your childhood, and then you discover metal in your teens. And even if you don't really listen to the other types of stuff, like certain kind of folk melodies, certain kind of just the things that you would see in a cultural background, I could very much feel that certain aspects of melodic writing, whether it's in vocal lines or whether it's in just writing the guitar parts or whatnot, some of that definitely has carried over from Ukraine, which is where I grew up.
I run a live on Twitch every week, and every week Trav is playing with me, and I have to ask him, make sure your fly's up, make sure you got your pants on.
I'm not surprised. I'm really not surprised. I've been friends with him on TikTok for forever, and I'm just not surprised.
Yeah, I shouldn't surprise you.
So sorry about the technical difficulties, folks. You might notice a little bit of that when you see the blooper reel coming up soon, which will include Trav without his pants. Getting back into it, we were talking about where your musicality comes from and where you guys got your sound from, and just a little bit of history of the band. And I wanted to ask, where did all of you get, if we can just go around, what inspired you musically? Jen, I know what your inspirations were because we were there inspiring one another way back in the day, but nobody else knows. So if we could just go around and kind of, I would love to get that out there so that people can understand where these artists got their inspiration from. And whoever wants to start that off, please,
Well, as John said, we go way back, like freshman year of high school, and I remember that year he started in band, and then the next year we were in the marching band. So right off the bat, I am a band nerd. So I've always had an interest in music, and around that time I started listening to different bands, and of course John brought a lot to the table. We would share a seat on the band bus on band trips and listen to each other's music. And I remember, like, me and him, we were into like stuff like Soundgarden and Guns N' Roses, Smashing Pumpkins, just all that popular stuff back in the 90s. That 90s grunge is kind of where I mean, my musical interests go a lot further back. Like, my parents listened to a lot of Led Zeppelin, Rush. I started listening to Rush again back in like 2015. And yeah, so we would always just listen to each other's music on the bus. And then I know John started playing guitar some, and he would, learn a few riffs and play a few riffs for me as well. And I thought, like, once we graduated high school, I thought it'd be cool to start playing myself. And I got my first guitar at like 19 years old, and it was just a little acoustic guitar, and tried to learn it. I got a Gibson Les Paul guitar. My ex-husband, he took over that guitar. But I just felt like I really wasn't getting anywhere with the guitar. It was just too complicated for me. And I was visiting Travis in Denver, and he had a bass just kind of hanging around in his living room. And I picked it up and started playing it. And I'm like, hey, I like this. This is better. For some reason, I was able to pick it up. And playing with a pick was just something I could not do. I could not grasp. But fingerpicking was something that I could do. I don't know if it's just being a clarinet player and, you know, you have to like learn how to move your fingers all fast and stuff. Because clarinet parts are very busy. If you've ever seen sheet music for a clarinet, holy crap!
I can vouch.
So I started. Yep, I started with that, and then one night we went to a show, and Alex brought this band up earlier called the Mandrake, and I saw them, and I saw they had a female bass player, and I was like, "Holy crap, that is so cool! A band with a female bass player!" And I think that was the band. It was either that or the band that performed after that. I started an all-female mosh pit. You won't catch me doing that today. Not with that 70% VA rating. But at the time, I think I was like 26 years old. So, you know, I was young and energetic. And I got to talk to their bass player for a little bit. I got to talk to the guys in the band for a little bit. Their vocalist was like, "Hey, that was cool. You had an all-female mosh pit going on." And later on, about maybe not even a year later, MySpace. MySpace was starting to get popular, and I found their bass player on Facebook, and I friended her, and her name is Addie. I still have her on Facebook to this day, and I still kind of, you know, say hi to her every once in a while. And so, yeah, I got to know Addie. We got to hang out with her a few times. When I visited Denver, we hung out with her. We went to an Arch Enemy show up at Fort Collins and met up with her there and a few other people. And the opportunity, of course, didn't present itself till like 2012 that I saw that Alex lost their bass player, and they needed one, and I was like, maybe I can pull this off, because I was working a fairly not a demanding schedule with my job. And I'm like, well, you know what, since the bassist at the time was using my gear to play at shows, I was like, well, you know what, maybe I'm going to give this a try. I'm going to see if this is something that I can pull off, and sure enough, it worked out. I did have to deploy to Afghanistan in 2013, but shortly after I got back from deployment, we played a show, like almost immediately after I got home. It was kind of cool.
That's good.
So yeah, here I am, been with them ever since. And I would say a lot of the influence came from Addie. She was kind of my motivation to join Midgard. And when we played our first show with the band Dragoria, one of the original band members from the Mandrake, he's in Dragoria, and he was like pretty excited to see that I'm in a band now, because he understood how his bass player influenced me to play bass. So he was like, "Oh, that is so cool, Jen. So cool to see you in a band."
Yeah. It's quite awesome. You know, very happy that we were able to make it work. And I mean, Jen, you know, just happy to have you part of Midgard. That's really awesome.
I'll go next.
All right.
So, so I've been playing guitar for about 25 years, maybe even a little longer. I don't really know. I started in middle school. I played a couple instruments before that. I took piano lessons. I also played the cello. I was never great at any of those. Although I can actually play both better now than I did when I was a kid, after playing guitar for 25 years. First band I started listening to was that inspired me to play guitar was Metallica, of course. I think that's everybody's first intro to guitar. So at one point I tried to learn every Metallica song on guitar. I wasn't quite successful at that. And then later on I got into more underground metal. I started listening to some more European metals and some heavier stuff too. I started listening to more death metal and melodic death metal and technical death metal, and just trying to push myself as a guitar player. And I've just been at it ever since, and joined Midgard in 2012, and just been going at it ever since. Me and Ryan still do a live stream at least once or twice a week. So where we usually just do cover songs and stuff, but it's fun. So we just been playing music. And there's been periods where I wasn't as active with the guitar, but I've gotten back into it recently, and I've been noticing my skills have been really improving. Hell, even just since we recorded the album. So I just thought I'd keep it brief for me.
I tend to ramble. It's an ADHD thing.
Yeah.
You've been doing that since I've known you, so I'm used to that. But Trav, actually, for those that don't know, Trav is on TikTok, and I didn't realize that was Ryan that was playing with you, but I've listened to you play on TikTok, and you really do shred on the guitar.
Yeah, I do.
So,
I do. Sometimes I like to do cover songs on TikTok. Usually, I just play along to a song. A couple times I've done. It's been a couple times I'll do something either original where I'll duet another musician on TikTok. Somebody will throw up just a random drum beat and I'll add something to it. Or I think we did a heavy metal Rick roll one time on TikTok where I did a cover song of Rick Astley with another drummer and stuff and a vocalist. That was fun.
I remember that one.
So, yeah, and sometimes I'll do, if there's a song that's trending on TikTok or something, I might do a metal cut version of it.
So, Alex, who wants to go next?
I'll go next.
All right, Ryan.
My influences go back like Trav. You start out with Metallica. I mean, that's pretty easy. But after I went through my phase of early, but mid '80s thrash metal, I easily found the European stuff immediately and was drawn to it. I've been playing drums now for over 30 years, so it's like, you start out drumming to, Metallica, you start drumming out, drumming whatever you can, when you first start out on drums. But, it's hard because, if you don't know how to read drum tab, guitars have, tablature and music to read. Drummers don't. I mean, they do, but it's different, to read that stuff. So you are just either a self-taught drummer, or you find somebody that knows how to play, or you get lessons. But I've been a self-taught drummer for 30 years, and it's taken me quite some time to get to the level I am now. But there's so many things that go into drumming after all these years, that you learn something new every day. I mean, it doesn't matter what you do, even on guitar, vocals, whatever instrument you play, you learn something new every day. But it's been a long journey. I actually broke my hip about 5 years ago, ice skating with my son Alex here. And you have 3 pins in it. I had to learn how to walk and learn how to drum again. And it was a pretty crazy journey, the last little bit of my drumming adventure. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun being a drummer for all these years. It's in my blood. I love to do it. And yeah, I'll keep my story brief as well, if anybody wants to pick up after that.
Not to mention that Ryan is also an excellent death metal singer, and not just death metal either.
I don't know. I briefly did that for a little bit. I was just going to keep it to drums, but yeah, I did a few vocals in 2 different bands that I had. I mean, that was almost 15 years ago now. Lots of fun. It's fun being a front man, but drums are my blood. It's just always been that way.
Yeah, I could never pick up the drums. As Jen said, I started out in trumpet and band. I picked up the guitar a little bit in high school, switched over to bass because I honestly, like Jen, I found the guitar was a bit challenging, and bass was a bit more laid back, and I liked it. And then I worked with my son when he learned saxophone, but other than that, I really I could never get drums down. I tried to learn drums in high school, and I could never get the coordination.
Yeah, I briefly played guitar, but I just, same thing. I was like, nah, bass. I just didn't like stringed instruments, I guess, after I tried a few of them. I was like, no, drums are my thing. It's just, it's what I do. Like Trav said, he's got his TikTok. I have Twitch. So I love getting on Twitch and entertaining people and playing covers and playing things. I mean, I've gotten like amazingly better in the last 2 to 3 years that I've been doing Twitch, playing along to all these songs that I never thought I'd actually be able to play. I can figure out like in no time flat, and it's like, cool, I can improv and cover almost anything now, and it's like I didn't know I could really do that before. And Twitch actually brought that out in me. It brought a whole new level of my drumming life that I didn't know that were even there.
That's really awesome, actually.
Yeah.
Yay, Twitch.
Yeah, I've been wanting to start a Twitch channel. I've been wanting to start doing Twitch live streams too, but I'll probably do that eventually. I just need to get some better equipment.
Well,
yeah, I still do TikTok.
Basically with my phone, but yeah, it'd be a lot better with different cameras and whatnot to do it right. Even my son Alex got on Twitch to do guitar and stuff like that. It's fun to do Twitch and entertain people.
See, I wanted to do live streams, but all I do is tell stories, so I don't really see a point in doing a live stream. But these are supposed to be live. Occasionally, I might get one or two in the audience, but maybe one day these will be, audience hits. So which Alex are we going to next?
Go for it, Alex. I'll go in this month, short and sweet.
Well, I'll try to keep it brief. So, I've been singing pretty much as long as I remember myself, which now that I'm well into my 40s means quite a long time. I've got into rock and metal in my early teens. I was actually classically trained on piano and on some other instruments that you probably don't see a whole lot of in the US, but it was essentially a Ukrainian and Russian version of an accordion. But ultimately, I got into rock music. First band that really got me into it was Queen, of all bands, believe it or not, in the early 90s. From there on, how could you not find as a singer that Freddie Mercury has an amazing range, and you just kind of be drawn to the fact that there is an amazing frontman who could do just about anything you could think of with his voice. Then, of course, I discovered Iron Maiden. And that's when I decided, okay, that is what I want to do. So that was Live After Death. There was guitar harmonies in The Trooper. And then it was hearing Bruce Dickinson and realizing, hey, I could kind of do something like that. Then, of course, as a teenager, I discovered heavier stuff. It was stuff like Iced Earth, Metallica, Dream Theater, and believe it or not, I do consider them heavy when they start using 7 strings and when they start doing stuff like Awake. Love that album. Eventually, it got to Nevermore, it got to In Flames, it got to Dark Tranquillity, and, that's kind of how it continued. So I would say that as a vocalist, of course, I had to learn how to do harsh after I was doing cleans. So that probably influenced how I do things as a singer. But ever since then, as a singer and as a songwriter, as a vocalist, as a guitarist, it's just been really trying to take what I know how to do and trying to make the best of it. And I'm just very happy that I was able to find my comrades in music here who we can just make magic together with.
I knew that I heard the Maiden influence in your voice, so I appreciate you confirming that for me. I didn't actually discover Maiden until after I was out of high school, and then somebody introduced me to The Number of the Beast, and then The Trooper, Run to the Hills, and just so many great albums from Iron Maiden. And talking about great singers and influence, your range on some of these songs is so weird because, as I was telling Jen, and as I've told you, when I'm listening, I'm thinking, okay, how many singers do they have on this track? Because you'll start off here, and then you'll switch to here, and then you have your smooth, clean vocals that come out, and I'm like, well, is that the same person? Because it's really unbelievable that it's the same person to me. But it's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, it's to me, it's been one of the things that I do as a vocalist. I think there are some amazing singers in both clean singing styles and in harsh style, and I think there's some singers who are absolutely amazing in one. What I've tried to do is I recognize that there are singers who are considerably technically better than me in either. I try to make my calling card as being the ability to do a bit of both and try to hopefully have a distinct enough edge with how I do it to where you could tell it it's me. You could tell it hopefully fits the songs, and that it provides us with an opportunity to do some more versatile stuff, vocally and instrumentally and compositionally.
You really can tell. And that brings us around to our youngest member, and Alex. Let us know. So you're from another generation coming into this. What were your influences growing up? Was it your dad and his music, or did you have other music that brought you into the fold?
All sorts of stuff. He was in a band with my brother when I was little, and I remember getting on stage with them when I was like 2 years old. Then when I got into school, I started to join an orchestra, played violin for a few years. Then I got into guitar because of my brother. And one of my biggest influences starting out was Alexi Leho of Children of Bodom.
Yep, I've been learning a lot of Children of Bodom lately.
So that was so a lot of your influence actually came from your dad and your brother.
Yeah, starting out, especially very young.
That's kind of awesome. That's awesome way to get introduced into music. My son actually has that joy that we introduced him into music early, and he is a complete audiophile now, and he's so great to tell me how quickly the music that he has found today, it makes my music sound like trash because he's found something that's out there and awesome. And very seldomly is he accurate, but he does occasionally hit me with something, and I'm just like, recently he introduced me to a band called Greta Van Fleet, and they have almost a Leonard Skinner
like Led
sound.
Zeppelin.
Yeah, I said Leonard Skinner. I meant Led Zeppelin. They have that sound, and I'm just like, oh, this is nice. Takes me back. Yes, play that more. And I'm in hopes that music takes a direction to go back to more bands sounding like artists that we formerly had that were so awesome. I'm waiting for the next Prince to show up and release another awesome While My Guitar Silently Weeps or something. But
I think where Alex was saying, he also brings in some newer bands, some younger bands into the mix that he's introduced me to. Some of these younger bands, these deathcore bands like Carnifex and Shadow of Intent and stuff that I probably wouldn't, that I've gotten really into, that I really love too. And these are less like younger bands that I probably wouldn't have heard of without for Alex. And I've actually started learning to play some of these songs too and stuff. And it's a little bit more technical, and it's a little heavier than some of the stuff I grew up listening to.
So he's bringing in the new into the old. So he's giving you guys the edge there.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's the cheat code. You found the cheat code. It's not fair.
I think one of the things that has always been a big thing about this band is the ability to keep an open mind about different influences and just trying to really connect it all together, and not automatically closing our mind to the thought of, well, if it doesn't sound like it did in 1988, then it's not real. I mean, we try to keep an open mind while still recognizing we all love metal. We are a metal band, and we try to make the best of everything to bring together, and not completely be too fixated on the past, but also have an eye towards what is happening now and what we are enjoying as musicians and as fans of the music.
Well, that's one thing I've always enjoyed about your music, is that it has always been unique. It has always sounded original, and it still had those elements that called back to things that I remember listening to. And, not to segue in, but I do believe, Alex, you've got something that we can share with the listeners so they can get an idea of what I've been listening to and what's going to be happening on your upcoming album, Damage, which is coming out in a couple of months, correct?
Yeah, we have the album coming out in hopefully just a few months. It is going to be our first concept album, and it's going to be a full-length album that we recorded with this lineup. And we have the first single that we hopefully will be sharing with the world in the next month or so. But I'm happy to share the first snippet of it. This song is called Bring the Night, and it'll give you a little bit of an idea of what you can expect from us.
All right, let's hear a little bit of that.
I play the game of against my disbelief, in search for hidden answers in the dark of decaying streets. I see the carcass bleeding, shallow tears of asphalt joy, and concrete children wander who seek, in fact, this. And every time I try to be better than you, it's this result of weakening, a false demarcation, the virtues of the parasite and self-abomination, and you, my wretched succubus, what can I ask of thee? Inherent obfuscation, now a chosen misery. Singing harsh and trying, what you have said.
All right, so just a little bit of a snippet.
Yeah, so you guys, there it is. That's the sample you guys get before anybody else gets to hear Bring the Night from Midgard. That's right. I got to hear
I was
first.
going to say, hey, Alex, tell us a little bit about the story that the album, because you said this is a concept album. So can you tell us a little bit about the story that the album tells?
Oh, there's a story. I want to hear this.
Yeah, so this is a concept album, and it went through several different iterations as it was being written. But ultimately, if I were to describe this, all right, so I'll go out and say it. I'm gonna sound a little pretentious here, but this is a story of Socrates if he was transported to the modern day, and if it was written by Kurt Vonnegut. So essentially, I would say this is the story of a character who essentially recognizes that the world and the society as it is in some form of a death spiral, both in terms of the overall social trends and in terms of the overall trends of the world. And of course, the character is railing against it. He ends up being very much abandoned and shunned by his peers, by the people who would otherwise be his friends. And of course, in the end of it, he does exactly what Socrates does, choosing hemlock over exile, proverbially speaking. And well, the disaster that everything was supposedly coming to, it does happen towards the end of the album. And eventually the ending of the story is almost darkly ironic in the sense that the whole world that he was railing against is gone. All you have is pretty much ruins and scavengers, and they discover a picture that they pray to, and that's the picture of him, of the guy that was very much against what was happening. So of course it ends up almost in this darkly comical, but I would say satirical note more than anything. And that song is My Graven Image. That's going to be the album closer, and it's I think that to me this is very much something that I was very happy that we were able to get out there. Very much had influence from all the classic concept records that at one point we all listened to, anything from Iced Earth, Night of the Storm Rider, to Iron Maiden, Seventh Son, to Queensryche. Not to say it would sound anything like them, but just the whole idea of trying to create a storyline, trying to create something that starts at the beginning, that actually progresses through it, that has songs that highlight certain underlying themes, and that ultimately get to something that's hopefully somewhat timeless.
That sounds awesome, and I can't wait to actually hear the entire album when it comes out. Because you know me, I love stories. As a matter of fact, that's why I brought you all here, was to hear your story and then to tell you a story. And so, because I've got Midgard here, because we are all so metal, I had to find a story that was metal enough to tell with my metal friends. And the only thing I could think of was, vampires. What's more metal than vampires? So today we're going to talk about George and Mary Brown's family of Exeter, Rhode Island. And we're going all the way back to the late 1800s, 19th century America. George and Mary's Brown family started suffering a whole lot of tragedy in the late 1880s. It all started with his daughter, Mercy, who became ill and passed away. And then just a couple of months later, it took his wife, Mary, and then his younger daughter, Mary Olive. And finally, George watched his son Edwin start to just be consumed by whatever this illness was. Now, in today's day and age, we know that this illness to be known as consumption. But back then, there was no idea what this illness was. Consumption, of course, being tuberculosis. So they sought every way, he sought every way that he could to save Edwin. He sent Edwin all the way out to healers as far out as Colorado to try and save his son's life. He was doing everything that he could. And when his son finally returned and got no better, absolutely nothing helped, he started to turn away from the medical and started to look to the supernatural. All of this began with his daughter Mercy in the winter of 1882. So someone started to suggest that perhaps Mercy was still around. Now, this was protested and argued about for years, for weeks, with doctors and scientists who were like, no, this is not possible. But finally, the father gave in to the superstition and had his daughter exhumed and the crypt opened. Now, they opened all of the crypts of his family members that had passed. Mary Olive was just skin and bones. Mary was basically just bones. But when they opened Mercy's tomb and they opened her casket, they found her to look almost like she had just died. Her skin was still almost rosy. Her hair was still nice. Her nails had not grown extremely long. And most peculiarly, they still found blood in her veins and in her heart. Immediately, Mercy became the last American vampire, because how was she been dead the longest, and yet she still got blood in her heart? So it was determined that she needed to be burned, and then her ashes fed to Edwin, and that would be what saved him from this curse, because it was obvious that she was draining the life from him. So they actually did take her heart, burn it, take the ashes, create a tincture, and give it to Edwin. And it kind of gave him a little bit of a boost in health, but then eventually Edwin did pass on. But for the longest time, everyone in this town that began to become ill, just like what happened in Salem in the 1600s, it became you don't have consumption, you don't have tuberculosis, somebody is draining you. Mercy was blamed for several illnesses in the town, as were several other people. And Mercy was desecrated. Her body was broken up, burned. The ashes were given to people as a tincture, and of course that didn't work. And then several people died. And that is the tale of the last American vampire. Though they say today that there is still evidence of unexplained medical conditions that occur in Exeter, Rhode Island, where this happened. So that's not too far from you, Alex. Just letting you know, don't go to Rhode Island, because apparently these mysterious illnesses do still happen all the way to today, and it is said that Mercy's spirit still haunts the grounds.
That would be an awesome topic for a song.
And there you go. That is the metal story. There was an American vampire. That is for you guys in Midgard. We've probably ran well over the normal 30 to 40 minute time limit for today. I don't have a problem with that, because I'm so happy to have you guys here. But real quickly, just to go real quick, I know everybody's got their own thing going, so if we can just do real quick, I'm going to start with Trav. What have you got going on? Where can we find you?
You can find me on TikTok and Instagram, Travis_entropy, Travis_entropy on both of those platforms. I'm also on Threads. I don't use Twitter a whole lot, or X, or whatever you want to call it. Eventually I'll probably get a Twitch channel up and running. I do have a Twitch account. I just don't use it very often right now. It's Entropy. It's ENTROPI3. So, keep an eye out for that.
All right, Jen, you're up next. Let us know where you are and what we can find about you.
I'm on Facebook, of course. I have an Instagram, Tatted Turbo Girl. I do have a YouTube channel where I started uploading turbo kickboxing videos of me instructing. So if you're looking at a way to get fit and just throw punches and kicks to get that heart rate up, I do have a YouTube channel. Jen Boyles, I think it's just under my name. And yeah, I'm off and on TikTok every once in a while. I kind of hop on and I might upload a video too, and I kind of disappear for a little bit and then I'll hop back on. But yeah, Instagram, you'll probably just find more of me there. You'll see me and my cute little kitties.
All right, Ryan, what about you?
Facebook, like always, you can always find me there. And of course, Twitch. That's what I've been doing for the last 2 years. And it's Goofy Metalhead 666. You can find me at least twice a week on there playing my drums and having fun with entertaining people from around the world. It's a lot of fun.
All right, and
me and Ryan usually do a set list together during at least once. Me and Ryan usually do a set list together during that live stream at least once a week.
That's awesome.
Just do a brief one.
I play request, and then me and him have a jam session. So
yeah,
that's
kind of thing. With drums, you can play along to any song. With guitar, I have to like study tabs for like 2 weeks to learn a song.
Yep.
So.
All right, Alex, you want to take us home?
Yeah. So, for me, very much, I'm on Facebook. I don't really do a whole lot of other social media. Like I have Instagram, but I never really post very much on it. But I do have a page on Facebook that's specific for my works outside of Midgard and other musical endeavors with other bands. That's facebook.com/works of Alex Shalenka. I also am in another band called Mind of Evil, and that's Maryland-based epic doom metal kind of a thing. So basically along the lines of Manila Road, Slow Fake, Candlemass. Also as a singer, very different vocal style from what they do in Midgard. And of course, we are all on Bandcamp, both with Midgard and with Mind of Evil. And Midgard has a Facebook page, which is, I believe, facebook.com/Midgard Metal, like MIDGARDMETAL. And we will definitely be announcing the details of the upcoming record, both via Facebook and via Bandcamp. And we will have some physical copies as well as the digital download available via Bandcamp and available via streaming on all major services.
That is awesome. And I'm really looking forward to it. As I said, folks, the band's name is Midgard. I want to thank you guys so much for being here. Every single one of you. I really appreciate it. It's been a pleasure. I'm sorry if things felt a little bit rushed, but short show, got to fit it all in here. And I've got 5 of you, and I want to get everything that I can, and I can't always do that. But hopefully I'll have them back again. Album is going to be coming out. When's it coming out, Alex? Or do we have a date yet?
We have not set the date yet, but we're looking probably late spring.
Late spring. So keep your eyes on them, Midgard. And thank you guys again so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us. We had a lot of fun. So thanks again. And this was a lot of fun for all of us, and we're very much looking forward to getting out the music and sharing it out with you. And also, hails and horns to Carolina Storyteller.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
All right, folks. I am the Carolina Storyteller, Jonathan Phoenix. This has been Let Me Tell You a Story. Remember, you can go to patreon.com/Carolina Storyteller to support the podcast, to get all the exclusives. You'll get to see bloopers, a lot of them from this episode, which is great because I don't have a blooper reel yet. So I got to thank these guys for helping me with that. And much, much more. YouTube, The Carolina Storyteller. And as always, you can find Let Me Tell You a Story on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Google Play Podcast. Stay spooky, my friends. We'll see you next time.